I originally worked. My first games job was in Denmark, working for a mobile developer called Kilu. Um, I did really well there, but um, between visa issues and I didn't really find the style of game to be that fulfilling. So I left there, went back to Perth, and started making smaller games that I suppose were a bit more artsy, but also mainly to attract a local multiplayer audience. So an audience of people who would come together and play at parties and events that we would put on. When I was a kid, I didn't have any friends who played video games. Um, they were all sports friends and that kind of thing. And I found that even a non-gamer would have no problem playing a game if it was competitive, simple, and multiplayer. As long as they were playing against me and not the computer, they were happy to play. So we took that and decided that when we came back to Perth, when I came back to Perth, if I wanted to engage with a local community, which is a lot smaller in Perth, so there's a lot less games-oriented stuff. If I wanted to expand to reach outside of that community, I'd have to go for games that would work well at events. And we sort of structured events around multiplayer games. We would kind of fill them out with bands and art on the walls and live art in some places and different kinds of creative expression to get a much wider diversity coming through. And it worked really well. It still does. It's still a killer way to get people to have fun with games in a way that doesn't feel like it feels like it bucks the trend of this sort of the stereotype behind a lot of video games at the moment. The events can range. We do events with other arts institutions. We do events at music festivals, but our classic event was kind of, I suppose, like a house party where you'd walk in. There would be a few projectors around the place, and the games would be unattended. There's just a game there. People would wander up and play with it. There would be usually drinking. We had a really strong tie to this kind of house party. Some of them would BYO, where people would just rock up with a carton, or sometimes we would set up a small impromptu bar. Always legally, of course. And we'd make custom controllers out of scrap wood and different old arcade parts that would sort of help people interact, help make the games more accessible, and also stop people from accidentally quitting the game and a lot of things like that. So they made it very easy for us to leave them alone at a party, and it was all about play, really. It's about sort of social play or play in a social space like that. And it's all about making it as welcoming and inviting and as you can. Well, originally when I started this kind of stuff, multiplayer was a big thing on my list and something I really looked for when I chose games. But as time goes by, we've had really good success with single player things, and I suppose more toys. So games that are a lot more free and there's no real winning. They're just something you play with, much like a child's toy or some sort of art kit. And we found these work really well in this, and because people don't necessarily want to play for long. So I look for a short play session, typically between 5 and 15 minutes. Something people can come up and play, and then while they're playing, someone else will wander up and have a look. And the next sort of after that round or game, they can swap over, and the person can go, "Oh, I see you've been looking. Yeah, you should have a play." So it's key that we have games where you can jump out and jump in, and they're very accessible like that. the other big thing we look for is this game that, ideally, a game that isn't really about being good. Something that's less about skill and more about fun and exploration. I suppose when we put up these kind of games, we try to look for something that doesn't put too much pressure on the players. Something that has a little bit of randomness, a bit of fun about it, and silliness. So that players don't feel like, I'm not skilled enough to play this game, or I don't want to play this in public because if I lose, I'll look like an idiot, or if I win, someone will get angry at me. It's also that also kind of makes us point towards games that people have never seen before, things that are quite unknown. If someone comes along and if a group of people attend a party and no one's seen the game before, they all come in with fresh eyes. If someone brings someone to a party and, I've played this game before, you should play it, and it's a competitive, serious game, the person, then suddenly there's an advantage to that person, and it's just not as fun. There's a really wide variety of interesting things coming out of the art games and fringe games and alt games, indie games, and games, toy games.